Hi, my name is Ashley Williams. I'm an event specialist working directly on Newtopia Now. Really excited to be joined by some of our previous attendees of the show to talk about the show. So with that, getting started, Darren, I'll start with you. So a show like Newtopia Now, it's a smaller show, a lot more intimate. You can walk the show floor very quickly. There's different activations going on. So what would you do to maximize your impact at a show like that? Or what did you do to maximize your impact?
I mean, for us, I did like the idea of that there were neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So I was really able to pre-plan my how I was going to navigate the show based on, okay, I know I need to, one of our areas might be that we want to have more health and beauty items. So I was able to find that and kind of see the overall selection so I can be a little bit more targeted and a little bit more specific on my needs. And then, I just really appreciated that because it didn't feel as overwhelming. And I felt a little bit more connected to the brands because it wasn't like this gigantic show where, it was like, half the time you're just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so I felt like there was definitely a little bit more connection to the founders, the owners, and the people who actually make the products. The thing I loved about Newtopia is I found a lot of smaller brands that typically maybe not would be at a larger show. And so for us, like one of our goals as a retailer is we're trying to find first to market type of items or smaller brands that we can kind of nurture that maybe aren't like a typical box store. So that's always our goal, is that we want to stand out from our competitors. The one thing that, kind of on the other subject you were saying is one of my favorite things about Newtopia was within the neighborhood, you had the panels. So a lot of times for us, like when we were going, a lot of times we barely have enough time to see the booths, and then to add another element of a panel was always challenging because you're walking a distance. So the thing I loved is I was still able to find all these great brands, but then have a little time where I could learn about that type of category or that attribute or, whatever that neighborhood was. So that really was beneficial because I kind of had the best of both worlds where I still had a traditional, trade show experience, but was able to have like the elevated experience of being able to also learn about the category a little bit more.
Right. Yeah.
I would add on to that. I loved all the events. So like pitch slams and just there's different things there that I don't have time for at Expo West that I'm able to spend time with and really hearing those bigger pitches. Like it's hard to go to booth and hear pitch after pitch after pitch after pitch. And it's so much, to me, more interesting to go to like the beauty pitch slam was so fun to hear people really passionate and just have to get his pitch once, not 100 times over. It was just really cool experience to see the passion. Yeah, I felt a lot more authentic and that passion really run. Like I just came through a lot more authentically.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like I heard that too, of just the conversations that people were having, the authenticity of it all is just, I think that's totally on point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, sorry.
No, I was going to say, we experienced the same thing like on the brand side of like, we were having more kind of casual and like, you do as a brand, just get into your pitch and you're like, yeah, we do this and this and this, and this is why we're so great, right? But I think what we found from the brand side at Newtopia was like, it was kind of like people took a deep breath and it was very like farmer's market style in like the best way, right? Like that's how I've been describing it to other brands is like, it feels like a really well-structured, larger, like farmer's market. And, I remember just like meeting different buyers and stuff and the conversations just lasted a little bit longer because you're not shoulder to shoulder and like running through with everybody and getting body checked or something. And so like that was a really great aspect to it, for sure. Yeah. Deeper connection is always great.
Yeah, awesome. Any words of advice or anything that you think that will be good to know for maybe someone that is now going to use 2025 as their first year for the show?
I mean, I feel like if you're on the fence as a brand to go to Newtopia or to exhibit Newtopia, at least attend, see what it's all about. I think it's totally worth attending and exhibiting at. And I think it's like more the merrier. I'd love to see that show keep growing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I would say good to go, walk it at least, right? I think if you're looking at Expo West and it feels like too big of a, that's like the biggest show in the world, I won't be able to make it, or, we can't afford it, this or that. I think Newtopia is a great way to kind of like introduce yourself to the industry at the right time when you kind of have like all the other right things buttoned up from the sales side, from the brand side and everything else, and you can really maximize your space and time there, right? So I think it's a good intro into like the circuit of doing trade shows and everything.
I mean, I would say, when I look at trade shows, I don't look at it as an expense. Ideally, I'm looking at is how we're going to be innovation, how we're going to, be competitive with, other retailers, really just, really cultivating community. So there's so many more more beneficial things than just saying, okay, it's just a trade show. And the thing that, when I look at our industry, it's really, we've always been about community. The natural industry is always about community, but it takes when things like that really elevate us and really emphasize, the community element of our industry. So that's the thing that I appreciate about most.
As we know, Newtopia Now launched in 2024 in Denver, Colorado, and we are really excited. Both of you were there last year. It sounds like you're coming next year, or this year, I should say, for 2025. And I'm just really excited to hear that. Newtopia was all about just trying to give a more intimate show experience while also having a, better playing field for anyone joining us. So a lot more turnkey booths. We have all of our content on the show floor, which is always really exciting. And so something with that is that you can really walk that show floor in a day, maybe even less than a day. So what is something that you do to prepare when you're going to be attending that show or speaking at that show, whether with your brand or with your company? And how do you approach a show like Newtopia, knowing it is smaller than something like Expo West?
It's a lot easier to build connections at Newtopia Now. And in 2024, we got ready we were given a list of a bunch of brands that we could have one-on-one meetings with. And so we chose those brands, and then we were assigned like 10 meetings throughout the day. And that was really wonderful to do. So you can then look up a little bit of information about those brands and be prepared during those buying meeting times to ask the questions that you really want to ask those brands and build really strong connections with them. So it was a really wonderful experience. And just being a part of it, there are all these different stages. I'll be a lot more prepared this year. I think last year we're just where am I going? What am I doing? But I know where to go. There'll be a lot of not a better experience. I don't know what the right word to use for it is, but maybe a more efficient. Although last year was efficient. We got really awesome brands.
Yeah,
More comprehensive.
Yeah. The comprehensive tour. Awesome.
Yeah, I second that. I really loved the interactions that we had with retailers that does not happen at other shows as often. And I prepare a lot in terms of knowing who we're going to meet with, but also what's the market talking about right now? And how can we as an organic essential oil brand really focus on those pieces? What are people asking for? What are people interested in? What's the TikTok trend, right?
Right.
And that tends to be what drives purchasing at stores too. So what are the staff interested in? What is the consumer interest? And then making it work for that. So that's how we decide what we bring as brand or products and that type of thing.
Is there any advice that you would give someone who is now going to be attending Newtopia Now for the first time?
If you've been to Expo West, you will be pleasantly surprised by the intimacy and the connections that you're able to make, because it's not it's a smaller event, so you're able to be more personal with people. So get ready to have really good conversations. Get ready to go to really awesome experiences. You could go to Red Rocks. You got to pick to go there. We went to this room with all these colors. I forget what it was called.
Is it the Meow Wolf Museum?
Yeah, we went.
Yes.
That was otherworldly. So just get ready to have a really good time and talk with like-minded people in an intimate stage, in an intimate space.
Yeah.
Well, I would say also for those who are inquisitive and curious, bring your questions, because it's really that time. I mean, our booth was manageably busy, and so the conversations I was able to have with retailers was fantastic. We got to dive in deeply, talk about things that we don't usually get to talk about. So I would say bring your questions, bring your curiosity, and really prepare for that, like you said, that intimate setting.
Yeah.
And being able to interact in ways you don't often get to.
Yeah. I kind of want to bounce off of things that both of you have said. A big part of Newtopia Now was how do we bring networking in a different aspect of the show? And, everyone is used to, I feel like with trade shows, being on the trade show floor, understanding the networking, the happy hours, the offsite events. But with the community experiences, that was a little more curated in what we were doing, where we were at a museum or we were at yoga at Red Rocks. And what do you think of something like that? Like when we bring that to a show, it's a bit of a risk of like, this is gonna be off site. We didn't really know what to expect, and we're bringing it back this year because we had so much fun, especially like our Women in CPG brunch. So I'm just curious to hear your side of that, of these off-site networking events, and what you gather from them.
It was awesome. So you got on a bus and you went with people. So you got the chance to like talk to the people that were near you on the bus, which is good. You got to bond that way. And then you got to the place and you were just at this like amazing location where everyone's like, wow, we're doing this together. And like you get to go into like small groups with people and walk around, and then you get to have lunch with people.
Yeah.
So it was a really good way to connect with other people that were at the show, whether they were like stores or brands. So it was just an awesome addition to the event. But
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. It's more unique in terms of networking. It's more natural in terms of networking. You're doing things you might really want to do anyway. And I think that produces a more natural exchange with people. And then, I always find that that's where I meet people like-minded, like you, right? Yeah. Having right here. I know, right here. As a brand, we want to work with like-minded people who are looking for organics, who are looking for that testing. It's sort of kismet that you and I ended up here together because I feel like we're exactly the right match, right? So again, here's Newtopia doing the magic right here in this Fireside chat. But as I've said, it's all about like the human thing, the energetic exchange. Like, what are you about? Let's do this, And that's what I think Newtopia offers.